Game Earth was home to all manner of video game characters. In this alternate universe, familiar faces from retro gaming all lived together in peace and harmony and defended their world from the warmongering space grunts of next gen. In this video, I'm going to break down the action-packed epic tale of Rise and Shine, so without further ado, let's get started. Rise and Shine wastes no time hand-holding the player with something so trivial as a tutorial. Instead, the game regards you as a guide, an experienced gaming entity that quite literally influences the legendary warrior who wields the sacred gun and thrusts you into the middle of a world-destroying conflict. Rise, a 10-year-old boy with an orange hoodie, was visiting the local candy mall before it was suddenly attacked by the space grunts. In a matter of seconds, the once peaceful and safe mall had been turned into a bloody ground zero of the next gen's blitzkrieg. Rise took cover behind some rubble and witnessed the brutality of the grunts as they mercilessly slaughtered countless innocents. Fortunately, the legendary warrior arrived, wielding his sacred gun, Shine, but a sneaky grunt surprised the hero with a fatal wound. With his final words, the legendary hero charged Rise to become the new wielder of Shine and save the planet from the next-gen invasion. Although Rise was uncertain and unprepared, the sentient Shine provided its wielder with the ability to respawn and increase resistance to weapon fire and explosions. Rise and Shine left the mall and took their first steps towards reclaiming Game Earth. 8-Bit City had been reduced to rubble, and landmines littered the scene. Just a few paces away, Rise found a laser sight that could improve his aim, and a giant robot that was level 999 stomped around the city, destroying everything in sight. A nearby crash site had a compatible remote control add-on for Shine that allowed Rise to control the bullets after they were fired from the muzzle. This would allow him to make tricky shots that could disable traps, flip switches, and destroy enemies from afar. Rise, armed with the legendary Shine, made his way through the city and found a cartridge of electric bullets that were incredibly effective against any robots or power nodes. The duo eventually made it to a safe house where many wounded were being cared for. Rise even found his mother, who reassured him that his father would return after putting an end to the next-gen conflict, as he was one of Game Earth's greatest soldiers of all time. The Master Wizard arrived and learned of the legendary warrior's untimely death. He also explained that when Rise accepted the gun, he formed a powerful bond with the guides, which in this case is the actual player. Rise would be unable to give Shine to anyone else until he completed his mission. So he let the wizard know that he was headed towards the king's palace in search of an ultimate weapon and reluctantly said his goodbyes. The Master Wizard sent the Mega Badass to escort Rise to the palace, and together they set off on their new path. But just moments after leaving the safe house, Mega Badass triggered a landmine that blew him to smithereens. It seemed Rise and Shine would have to handle this on their own. And speaking of being a badass, it would be mega badass of you to subscribe now if you're enjoying the video. It helps the channel out immensely. Rise and Shine disabled a trap, faced off with a space grunt ship, and made it to the rooftops, and as soon as they arrived, the giant level 999 robot attacked. After an epic battle, the mechanical monstrosity was defeated, and Dwayne, the captain of a flying ship, swooped in from the ashes. Rise and Shine met with Dwayne and a young pink-haired girl who was in shock from the devastation. Together, they flew towards the palace. Dwayne warned Rise that the space grunts had resorted to chemical warfare and used a deadly gas to wipe out the king's forces. Rise expressed how the repeated deaths were wearing down his mental state and questioned if he could go on any longer. Fortunately, Dwayne comforted him with his kind words and also equipped him with a gas mask for the troubles ahead. When they arrived, they witnessed the extent of the damage done to the palace and hurried towards the castle. A deadly green mist blanketed the area, and the space grunts' mechanized warriors blocked every path to the king's domain. After several intense battles, Rise and Shine discovered a cavern that was overrun by zombies. The deadly gas didn't only kill those who inhaled it, but it also turned their corpses into the flesh-eating undead. Fortunately, the dark caves housed a flashlight that was compatible with Shine, and the two heroes narrowly escaped. Meanwhile, in Game Earth's orbit, the commander of the space grunts was revealed to be none other than Rise's father himself, Mark Cole. One of the grunts informed the commander that his son was Shine's new wielder, but despite this revelation, he remained steadfast in his mission. Rise had to be stopped at any cost, and he would see to it personally. Back on Game Earth, Rise and Shine surfaced only to find themselves barricaded in by rubble. They activated the former chest cannon of the giant robot and blew open a new path. An inscribed stone with the words, "Dead shall pass," blocked the way, but Rise confidently took a step forward and was killed in the process. As his skull rolled down the hill, away from the magical stone, Shine revived Rise before he fell into the pit. The stone was actually a golem that often tested a warrior's spirit. Rise and Shine arrived at yet another impasse, but this time, it was not a wall that blocked their path, but rather, a giant colossus. The gentle giant explained how he had sustained critical damage and needed his heart to be recharged so that he could begin healing. Rise and Shine cleared the path and jumped inside the benevolent behemoth, ready to give him the jumpstart he needed. With the 3 chambers infused with new power, the Colossus regained some of his former strength and vowed to protect the land and its inhabitants. The two continued on their way and crossed a booby-trapped bridge. This mischievous dog from Duck Hunt attempted to sabotage the duo, but a well-placed explosive did the trick. Rise and Shine arrived at a weapons base that was guarded by evil chicken nuggets and disabled to prevent any further destruction. They had finally reached the palace grounds, but the gruesome sight before them was not very promising. Sadly, the deadly gas had done its job all too well, and the king and his guards had all perished. In his hands, the king held a cartridge with a holographic recording on it. The message was intended for Rise and Shine and informed the heroes to travel to RPG City in search for the Odyssey Temple. The king explained that locked inside the temple was the only chance of survival for Game Earth. As soon as the king's transmission ended, hordes of zombie palace guards stormed the throne room. Rise and Shine were vastly outnumbered and had no choice but to jump. However, the ever-watchful Captain Dwayne was just in reach and the two landed safely. On their way to RPG City, an armada of robotic space grunts attacked the heroes. Luckily, the ship was armed with powerful electric cannons and an EMP bomb that could destroy waves of enemies after it charged. Seconds seemed like hours, but Rise never faltered. He kept the robots at bay long enough to charge an EMP blast that completely wiped out the opposition. Unfortunately, the cost was great, and the EMP weapon had damaged the ship's spark plug. The crew would have to stop at the nearby NPC city to see what they could salvage. After meeting some friendly non-player characters, Rise and Shine played a few minigames and were rewarded with a brand new spark plug for the ship. They returned on board, repaired the ship, and set their coordinates towards RPG City. When they arrived, Rise and Shine were confronted by an incredibly powerful, armored mech that forced the duo to use every single skill they had learned up to this point. But the heroes triumphed, and in the end, Rise realized who the commander of the next-gen Space Grunts truly was. Shocked, horrified, and disgusted, Rise demanded answers from his injured father. Mark Cole, the commander, informed his son that although he was raised on Game Earth, he was born on planet NextGen, and was planted as a mold to obtain information about the retro world's defenses. From the moment of his birth, he was identified as a perfect genetic match to lead the Space Grunts to conquer the universe. Game Earth was simply one step along that long and glorious road. Unwilling to defy his destiny, Mark trapped his son Rise in a force field and attempted to imprison him in Shine for all eternity. However, the quick-thinking Shine shot Rise, killing him in the process and freeing him from his shackles. The newly resurrected Rise reunited with the pink-haired girl, and together they darted towards the Odyssey Temple and unlocked the impenetrable door with Shine. Inside, there was a monitor, keyboard, and mouse that had the power to alter reality itself. With just a few clicks, Rise could quite literally delete all of the enemies that had attacked his home world and end the invasion. However, Rise hesitated, because if he chose to remove the enemies, his father would die as well. As he contemplated the morality of his decision, a deafening shot was fired and Shine burst into pieces. Mark Cole had snuck into the chamber and killed Shine. Rise turned to the monitor as his father screamed at him and demanded him to stop, but he knew the truth now. His father was a monster. Rise removed all enemies, and in an instant, the enemy threat was quelled. all traces of the Space Grunts and the next-gen attack were no more, and Game Earth and its survivors would rebuild again. Rise had lost his father and his friend, and although he had saved the world, he was unable to celebrate. The pain of his losses was just too great. The young girl, who always found a way to smile amidst all the pain, showed Rise the power of love and gifted him an extra life. It seemed Shine would rise yet again to live another day as the sacred gun and protector of Game Earth. And that's all for this video. Until next time, it's the Inhuman One signing out.